Welcome to This Week in College Hockey. Tony Scott, Sydney Wolf, Ryan on the command central. He's doing his best to keep track of Jess Myers, who is somewhere in northern Minnesota. I think it's McGregor. How are you doing today, Jess?
I'm doing great. On my way back from deer camp, I think it's my 45th deer camp.
Wow.
And it was my 75th for my father, who is 86 years
How's
old.
Dick doing?
He got a deer, so I was happy
God.
about that. I'm kind of dismayed to report that no deer were harmed in the making of my deer camp this year, but that's okay.
So how big was Dick's deer?
He's got a doe, but how about this? He's 86 years old. That's the 89th deer he has gotten in his life.
That's
so
impressive.
Pretty impressive record. And let's face it, if you're driving at night, you appreciate people like my father because they make it a little safer.
That's true. Good. Thank you, Dick. Their Inver Grove Heights did not come home empty-handed this year with a deer. There's been reports of another Inver Grove Heights native who got a deer. Did you hear about this deer?
Yes, I did, in the McGregor area, believe it or not, which is where I have my cabin. And I don't hunt near McGregor, but I know someone who does, and they did very well.
Yeah, this will be a quick little photo of Amy, my son Jake's girlfriend, who got one, and
that is a big one.
That's a big old buck, and Jake met Amy via Jess's son Jacob, and
nice.
And fiance Kylie. So thank you to Jacob and Kylie for the introduction to Amy. That's been the greatest 6 months of my life. Having
and if you need any venison sausage, you know who to call.
Oh yeah. I got the play-by-play from her last night, so I was hoping that I wore a Minnesota Wild deer hunting hat here on the show today, that you would also have one as well. We could do some hunting talk, but not a lot of hunting talk out of you.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because, another little addition to this backstory, my son Jacob has been encouraging your son Jake to go deer hunting, and Jake just hasn't been able to make it work yet. Well, now that Jake's girlfriend got this massive deer, now the pressure's on. Now there's credit at stake here.
I think there is, and believe it or not, Jess did, swear to God, like 2 weeks ago, sent me a picture of Jacob and Jake practicing rifle shooting, and thank you,
at
Jess,
the rifle range. Yep.
And I do appreciate you teaching him something that my family would have never considered ever for a couple generations.
Yeah.
So
sure. I'll just say, it's been a family tradition. And I'll say this too. For me, it's never been about the deer. If I get a deer, cool. If I don't, also cool, because I get to spend time with my family, get to be out in the woods. I had an absolutely peaceful morning yesterday morning out, literally in a tree stand in the middle of nowhere in the woods, in Lake of the Woods County. Did not see anything even resembling a deer, and it was just a beautiful morning because it was so peaceful and quiet, and you're in nature and all of that. So nice. Good luck to everybody who hunted. I hope you did well, and more than anything, I hope you were safe, and a fun tradition every year.
So, quick question for you: how is my favorite War Road Warrior Anderson Myers doing up there? Did you see him this weekend?
I did see him this weekend. He's on the he's on the Bantam B team.
Yes.
And, I told the story about Rube Bjorkman showing up and coaching one of their practices at 96 or 97 years old, whatever he is. Yeah, they're getting excited. They're ramping up. The season starts pretty soon here. And I see, girls high school hockey is underway already because Warroad played Proctor Hermantown in a game already. So it's amazing how the season is just upon us now for hockey in Hockeytown, USA. There.
Yeah, and boys started yesterday, so we are officially underway.
Full
season. The only ones who haven't started yet which will be next week, will be the junior goals. But other than that, the whole state is up and running.
Nice.
All right, speaking up and running, let's talk some college hockey here. There was a lot last weekend and some good stuff. Where do we start, Sydney?
I thought we would start on a bit of a high note. We still got Jess. Never mind. I thought maybe it was
somebody else
cutting out. Someone else is calling into the show. Maybe
yes,
we'll see.
They are.
It's a popular phone number.
It should have been Ryan. For future, it's going to be Ryan's phone because this phone is going to go crazy here.
But I wanted to start on kind of a good note because we've been kind of, sad about the Gophers. We were like, is it time to panic? I don't know. Not feeling super good. I think they were 2-7-1, so didn't have too many happy feelings about the Gophers the last few weeks.
No, and now it's kind of
and now it kind of feels a little bit better if you're a Gophers fan. You got the 2 wins against Notre Dame this weekend.
Good wins, too.
The 2 wins that, people expected you to win, but you won, and it wasn't too chaotic or bad or anything too scary.
I have a question before we talk a little bit about the Gophers. Is Notre Dame just bad, or are they bad because they have defensive-minded players in a new system with maybe an offensive-minded coach? Jess, what are your thoughts on how bad Notre Dame is?
First year under a new coach, and I know that Brock Sheehan was there last year in an assistant role to kind of make the transition easier. But maybe this is just who Notre Dame is. Bob Motzko talked about this. He said you take over your first year, as much as you try and get to know the guys, you instill your system. It's not your team, really. It's just not. So as much as Brock Sheehan has been a part of this program, I think maybe this is just kind of a growing pain. Now, nobody is surprised to see Notre Dame go into a weekend and score 1 goal because they just haven't been that much of an offensive-minded team. But you look at Knuble and Nelson and, some of these players they've got, they should be able to generate more offense than that. So I'm sure they're pretty disappointed with flying to Minneapolis and back and getting 1 goal out of the deal.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought too. I think I'm gonna chalk it up right now as first year Blues, but maybe after the first of the year things will turn around.
I mean, we'll see.
I want to say also the goal that they got from Mastro Domenico, and I saw Owen Bartoszkiewicz was the goalie of the week in the CCHA. What is it with the guys with like 17 letters in their names? Something's got to be done there. For those of us who have to type these things, come on, you're killing us. Give me a nice little Jimmy Clark or a Joe Smith or somebody like that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good pronunciation of Mastro Domenico. That's a hard one. That's a hard one. I'd take Bartoszkiewicz any day over
that one. Once you know how to say it's not hard.
It's easy.
But spelling it is the tough part.
Yeah, there's a lot of hard spellings in this world. All right,
when he was with the Wild, I mastered Nino Niederreiter, and of course, he seems like he always gets a goal when he comes back for Winnipeg now. So that's a good one to know. But I had this running joke when, especially covering the NHL, where you have a lot more European and Eastern European players. I always glance at the opposing team's roster before the game starts. I pick out the toughest name to spell and then just know that guy's going to have like a goal and 2 assists and you're going to have to write about him multiple times in your game story. So that's just kind of the way it goes.
I concur with that. Every hardest name when I broadcast has the puck the whole time.
You're going to just have to know it. Otherwise, it's going to come up.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
100%.
All right.
Well, that was kind of a nice thing, though, because obviously you don't want to see the Gophers suffer too much. Obviously, they have some ups and downs, but now it's kind of feels a little bit better. They got, a pair of good wins against Notre Dame, some conference points as well, so that's always good. And they're heading into kind of, I don't want to say an easy weekend. You don't want to overlook anybody, but they're going to be playing Long Island. So, it's going to be kind of like, okay, can they get some mojo back here a little bit, which is good. And we wanted to say, too, Teddy Townsend has made his collegiate debut. That could be a nice addition to the roster that has had kind of some ins and outs, some injuries, some illness, so it's good to obviously get him in the lineup. Yeah,
he looked good too. Jess, you reported some things that many have known, and it finally, I guess you were probably one of the first persons to actually report it. Go through exactly what was happening. We talked a little bit about it last week. We can talk a little bit more about it now.
Well, Teddy Townsend was assaulted September 20th on campus. I guess there's video out there of him being attacked, like literally from behind, and was injured pretty bad, to the point where he had to be hospitalized. There was an arrest made in the assault, and then the person that arrested, a former hockey player, I think we talked about that last week, he was released without being charged. So we don't know the exact circumstances, but it turns out it was just kind of a fight. These are 20, 21-year-old guys, and there are allegations that alcohol may have been involved, and that leads to some trouble. We don't know the exact situation, but for whatever the reason, Teddy Townsend was injured pretty badly. He was out for a while. He was hospitalized. Cool to see him make a comeback, and you never want to see that with anybody, especially something as dumb as, a fist fight off ice, that kind of thing. But cool to see him back on the ice and contributing for the Gophers because, I talked to him back when he committed to the U, I want to say 3 years ago, kid out of Eden Prairie, good scorer, had a nice year last year with Waterloo. And you'd think he could contribute to this team, which obviously needs some more offense.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So I obviously am good friends with the Townsend family. Teddy was a Bantam Player of the Year back in like 2021, I think, somewhere around there. And I'll say this, that their family was so happy with all the support that they got. But most importantly, and this goes unsaid and hasn't been published really anywhere, how grateful they were with the coaching staff and how great the people on the coaching staff at the U of M, Ben Gordon, Bob Motzko, Steve Miller, the whole gang there were with Teddy the entire way. This wasn't like, oh, he's not our problem now. I mean, this is a really well-placed time for, they were well in his life when this was all going on, and he got great care from HCMC and the doctors at the U of M, and the Townsend was like, man, there was a lot of miracles going on here and a lot of people praying for the Townsends, and a lot of those prayers came true on Friday night.
Yeah, you mentioned that there was a member of the Gopher staff always.
There was a member of the Gopher staff by Teddy's side the entire time, which that's not something that's in their job description, and they fulfilled. They went way out above and beyond.
Yeah, a lot cooler than, like you said, if they were just like, oh, boy, you're injured, it doesn't matter now. We'll see you when you get better, kind of thing. So,
and the thing is, if you know Teddy, I mean, I can promise you one thing that I know about Teddy. He's not a fire starter. He's not a fight starter. I don't know what happened to transpire this, and he's not a trash talker. So, like, he doesn't say a lot. He's just a real humble, shy kid, doesn't say a lot, and probably I would classify this wrong place, wrong time situation. So anybody who cares to hear this, that's what I know, and if you want to hear more, give me a call or shoot me a text. I'm kind of done talking about it.
Yeah, so we'll see if anything else pops up with it, but otherwise everything else is kind of just hearsay or alleged for now.
Absolutely.
But otherwise, the scores of the two games are 3-0 and 4-1. 3-0 might be a little misleading because it was a goal from Hendrickson and then 2 empty net goals, so it really was kind of like 1-0 plus bonus goals from Whipple and Lamb. And then the next night it was Lamb, Mooney, Luke Middlestat, and Jimmy Clark, and then like Jess said, Mastro Domenico. Fun name to say.
It's a lot of fun to say.
But good pair of wins. You get some mojo back. You get some conference points, which is always good after the first couple of weeks. And also, interesting enough, DePasquo started both games. I know fans were starting to get a little nervous about the goaltending situation, but he gets the shutout night one. And then I think I saw online it said during like the stretch the next morning they said, okay, you're going to get the second start, and then got, I think it was 33 out of 34 saves.
It was in the post-game presser. They asked him, when did you find out? And he goes, I found out this morning. I thought that was maybe it's just a move like, hey, well, let's try. The goaltending's not working. Let's try to give him a back-to-back and see if that works.
Builds up his confidence. Maybe,
I think that's good.
That's one of those situations, too, that's always tough for a coach, especially if you go into a weekend saying, well, we'll split the goalies, and then somebody gets a shutout on Friday. How do you put them on the bench for Saturday?
Yeah,
I agree.
After they literally did not allow a goal. And I will note this about Luca DePasquo. I check the Big Ten players of the week every week. We're almost middle of November. This week, for the first time, a Gopher got a Big Ten 3-star, and it was Luca DePasquo this week. So crazy, to think that we're this far into November, and the first time we're seeing a Gopher on that 3-stars list. But I'll just say this: Mr. Cooley no longer works here. So anyway,
in a 7-team conference, so it's not that hard. Is what I'm saying. You gotta be pretty good to make that list. Not great, not like the football conference where there's like 18 teams. Yeah. You really got to stand out to get on that list,
Jeremiah
right?
Smith,
out there every week. Exactly.
Yeah. So this might be kind of nice for them to get this pair of wins, boost up the record a little bit, get some confidence, get some things going. They get Teddy Townsend back, and then this next weekend, I believe it's at home, they're playing Long Island. So hopefully if you can get another 2 wins, then you can get some more momentum going into some of the more harder, Big Ten games.
Oh, yeah, they got some coming, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Quick note, my niece, who's from Houston, Texas, lived her entire life in Houston, Texas, went to her first college hockey game on Saturday.
Wow.
And she had dinner at our house on Sunday, and she could not stop talking about it. Because that was
Loved it?
so cool. Like the bands was playing, the cheerleaders, cheerleaders on the ice. You know, it was the
That's
greatest
awesome.
thing ever. So we have a new college hockey fan here, so it's pretty fun.
Nice. Well, maybe if she's in Texas, maybe she'll be at Arizona State or somewhere southern. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know. But yeah, that was good for the Gophers. You know, it's been kind of tough talking about him.
Yeah,
talking about him here the first few
painful.
weeks, and now it's looking up a little bit. So we'll see if they kind of build on that here over the next few weeks. And kind of interesting, they're going to be playing Long Island. That's kind of a random team to come here.
Bob had Robert Morris. He's had Alaska. He'll get a few cupcakes in there, and they're not a total cupcake, but
yeah, I don't know about
still.
Yeah, I mean
bit.
they pushed Penn State around a little bit.
Didn't
they go to
mention
overtime?
Penn State thought it was a big deal that they swept them. So
Yeah, I think they went to overtime. Do we have Minnesotans? Let me check on Long Island. I think there's one.
Really?
Yeah, let me.
I do my goal scorers,
look
and
on
I
my
feel like
sheet.
when I hit Long Island,
Luke Housey, former Hill Murray. That's it. Go on.
I am barely pumping the brakes on Long Island when I do summit scores. Barely.
Well, so we'll talk more about that when we talk about the future games this week.
All right.
Otherwise, two Minnesota teams battling. Always fun to see that. St. Cloud State swept asterisk by Minnesota Duluth because it was 4-0 Friday and then overtime. So
seriously,
they get 1 point.
3-on-3 overtime with UMD isn't almost fair. The opposing team should get a fourth skater.
I was gonna put this too. So
it would be more fun.
I obviously last week was saying, okay, I think St. Cloud's getting good, and then Friday they come out and they just did not play well. They just didn't.
Bust legs.
And like I'll say too, like Duluth is really good. Like we both, Tony, will talk about our poll later in the show.
Yeah,
they are a very good team. We both put them, I think, in our top three or four.
Yeah. Yep.
So they are very good, but St. Cloud just did not look good Friday. They got shut out. Not great. They just did not look good really in any aspect. Saturday, I thought they looked better. It was 2-2, but then I am very confused on the overtime player choices.
What were they?
Well, for one, Austin Bernovic, our leading goal scorer, one of the top in the nation, doesn't play a single overtime shift.
Okay.
Question mark. Why?
Yep. Ooh.
Did you hear that hour?
Hour. I like
top
hour.
goal
I say
scorer.
my every once in a
Hour.
while.
Top goal
I've
scorer.
said we a few times on here.
Yeah.
I admit it.
I love it.
Well, people
know.
know. But then also, like the first shift for overtime, I get it. It was our, one of the three of the main players.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say that, yeah. But then the second shift that goes out there, three guys that would be kind of like the fourth line. One of them, no goals this year. Why are they playing the second shift in overtime?
Hey, I'm not disagreeing.
So and I saw a lot of fans talking about this online, so that's why I wanted to bring it up, of just some of the overtime decisions, I don't get it.
Should I take my
And I don't wanna-
best coach in the country, Brett Larson, off the mantle? Should I take him down?
I don't want to, and I'm sure Brett knows what he's doing, but now we have 2 overtime losses, and the Vermont
In
one
conference?
really, no, the other one was Vermont, and that
Okay.
one really stung. But just, I don't know sometimes why some of these guys, and I know he loves the fourth line guys because he says they bring a lot of energy and stuff, but I don't need energy for the next line in overtime. We need a goal.
I love this.
You need to score a goal.
Good point.
So I've been seeing a lot of fans saying, like, and I don't want to flame anybody personally.
Come on,
but
flame him.
You
could do it.
There's some guys that are going out
No
there.
one's listening anyway.
The fourth line, well, it's kind of modified because it's 3-on-3, but it was Ryan Rosborough, no goals this year.
Yeah.
Jack Ryman, who had 2 last week, but I think he only had 1 goal in each of the seasons before.
Yeah.
In one game.
Were these potentially matchups?
And Mason Reiners, who's a senior who has 2 career goals in overtime.
Okay. I love this. These are just like direct shots.
And then UMD had.
And again, I like those guys during the regular game, but during overtime, I think you have to be going all out, more aggressive in overtime.
And meanwhile, UMD's got Plant, Hansen.
Yeah, and maybe that's just me. Maybe some teams prefer. Maybe Brett wants to play more of like a more safe defensive overtime style. I don't know. But like, in my opinion, you just got to go for it in overtime, because if you're not trying to win, then why are you sending some of those guys out?
It's not called pairwise. Not called pairwise. What's it called now?
NPI.
N is in Nancy.
Yeah.
So NPI points on an overtime loss are 66-33, or are they?
I think
full
it's
100.
No, I don't know what the split is, but it's not full.
Does Jess know the answer to that question?
Just you know.
Jess, do you know the answer to that question?
I have a feeling it's like 60-40.
I think it's something like that.
They made it closer this year, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. All right.
But and
then the shootout's 50-50, right?
I think shootout, if you get to a true tie, then it doesn't really matter. But
shootout doesn't really matter. Shootout is basically just for conference points.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I didn't want to go on too long.
And you know how you know that? When a team loses in a shootout, you get the press release from their sports information people that say they tied.
Yep.
Yeah.
If a team wins in a shootout, you get the press release that says they win.
They won in a shootout. Yes.
It is. I can confirm it is a 60-40 split.
Okay.
60-40. Thank you, Ryan.
Well,
good dig.
I've seen a lot of St. Cloud State fans now, including myself, that are just wishing we put out a little more of an aggressive style in the overtimes, because now we have two.
Fair.
I think if we would have won the 2 overtime games we went to this year, if I'm remembering all of them correctly, if we beat Vermont and Duluth this weekend, I think St. Cloud would be ranked. I just
not disagreeing.
And I'm not saying like
a win
it's
over
super
a
bad
top 5 team is definitely.
I still think
ranked.
Brett knows what he's doing, but just there's a couple times where I'm like, why is this line, or like with 5 minutes left in the game, I'm like, why is this line out there right now? They've scored like 4 goals total their entire career. Like, put somebody out there that's like gonna score. And I know sometimes you just need energy, or you need guys with legs or whatever, but just some of the, I don't know, I'm a little confused sometimes.
You did a lot on these series, so let's get rolling here.
Yeah, but
There's
then
a lot more here.
So UMD, the dogs seem pretty for real.
Yes.
People are kind of saying now Max Plant for Hobie
already.
UMD posted he's the fastest to get to 50 points since Brett Hall in 84-85.
Yeah, but there were like 2 or 3 guys ahead of him that had gotten faster at UMD history.
And there was a lot of Minnesotans scoring in this series as well.
Tons.
But otherwise,
Brett Hall, he did okay in his career, right?
He did not win a Hobie, though. He did not win a Hobie.
Well, I don't know. Max Plant's looking real electric. Everybody's talking about him, and
definitely in the conversation.
That line
let me just say this too, because I bring that kind of historical perspective and probably know more about UMD hockey than I probably should. But much like Sydney, we all know Sydney's a Husky. That's fine. It's okay to rep your alma mater, all that. I went to Minnesota Duluth. My wife went there. My son went there. I know a lot about the Bulldogs. Here's to me what I find interesting about Max Plant for Hobie for that discussion starting up, and rightfully so, because you look at what he's done so far. Go back to 1993, and by all accounts, his dad, Derek Plant, had one of the best non-Hobie winning seasons in college hockey history. He did not win it. It went to Paul Correa that year, first freshman ever to win it. Yep. And talk about a guy who had a great NHL career, deservedly so. I'm not saying Paul Correa was not deserving of the Hobie that year, but Derek Plant, league MVP, All-American, all of that, just had a dynamic year. And that 1993 season, we've mentioned it before, last time UMD has won a regular season conference title. So that gives you an idea of just how long ago it was. So Derek Plant does not win the Hobie. He goes on to a nice NHL career, wins a Stanley Cup, all of that. The next year, Chris Marinucci from Grand Rapids, who was Derek Plant's line mate and was a good player, not a great player. Then in 93, he's on a line with Derek Plant, and he absolutely lights it up, like we've seen so many times. The next year, Chris Marinucci, who by every consideration was kind of the understudy to Derek Plant, wins the Hobie Baker Award in 1994. To this day, the only player on a sub-500 team to win the Hobie. So just some crazy college hockey history there.
Yeah, also, I would throw another name out there. Jeff Panzer was another one, very deserving. Had a Hobie Baker season, didn't win it. I think Ryan Miller won it that year from Michigan State.
Well, and just another interesting thing Duluth tweeted this morning, too, was for the first time in NCAA men's D1 hockey, they have a pair of brothers leading the nation in scoring, Max and Zam Plant, with 22 points and 19 points. Kind of interesting.
That is
fantastic.
Cool.
Is anybody shocked?
No.
Not this writer.
Who else would even be in that category? Who are some high-scoring brothers? It's like, I can think of the Ferraros when they played at Maine. But
sometimes you get one that's way better than the other.
Aaron Broughton, Neil Broughton for 200.
Yeah.
Alex.
Yeah. And that's still a crazy one. And, this is not a rip on Neil Broughton at all, because I've talked to him about this before. Look at the Gophers scoring sheet in 1981 when Neil Broughton won the Hobie Baker Award. He was like 4th on the team offensively. His brother had like 50 more points or something like that.
Yeah.
And even Neil will tell you Aaron should have won the award.
Yeah.
You know, Neil freely admits he probably won it because the year before he had been on the Miracle on Ice team and he was the only guy to come back to college hockey.
I think Neil's stats that year were like 14 goals and 71 assists or some crazy imbalance of goals and assists. But yeah, I think Aaron should have won it. Aaron's one of the most underappreciated American hockey players of all time.
Well, a couple weeks ago when I was out in New Jersey covering the Wild playing the Devils, you know, I always think about this aspect of it too. Aaron Broughton starts his NHL career. He goes to the New Jersey Devils when they had just moved to New Jersey, and they were terrible.
Mickey Mouse.
I mean, they were. Yeah, the legendary, you know, Wayne Gretzky calling them a Mickey Mouse organization, and that stuck with him the rest of his career. You know, so Aaron logs all these years for this just terrible New Jersey Devils team, and then Neil goes there for like half a year in 1995 and wins the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, he is the chosen one in the Broughton
he
family,
really is the hand of fate came down and blessed Neil, you know, for whatever reason.
Here's a quick story. One of my all-time idols in hockey was Tim Harr from the Gophers. And I got a chance to write a story and meet Tim Harr. It was kind of cool. He's a Bloomington kid. And I asked him, I go, yeah, he had 53 goals in this season, in a season for the Gophers, still a record.
Yeah.
And I was walking through it to him. I go, what was the secret? What were you training? Were you eating Wheaties? He goes, no, I was in a line with Aaron Broughton. That guy could see through anything. He had eyes in the back of his head. So it was a great story. It was like kind of the peak of the story, if you ask me.
Fantastic. Just fantastic. And hey, this is not a rip on Aaron Broughton by any stretch of the imagination.
No,
fantastic guy. You know, one of those guys you love to interview because he's got great stories and was just a fantastic hockey player. You know, what a great family.
Well, Tony, do you want to talk about the USHL a little bit?
I think we got a good talker on the USHL today. I actually had a good tweet. I posted the 20 Minnesotans who have the top 20 Minnesotans in points this year, Minnesota Borns. 13 of them played through their senior year of high school, which I thought was impressive. And it just keeps coming back to it's that time of year again where players are choosing whether they're going to skip their junior year, their senior year, and play a USHL. Again, no knock on the USHL. I think it's the best league in all of North America. Better than the O, better than the Dub, better than the Q. I think it's the best of the 4 leagues, which leads into a tweet that came out recently. Ryan, do you want to read a little bit about this, where we could finally get all new world order in junior hockey could happen in one step if the USHL became part of the CHL and they would play for the Prize Memorial Cup. That would do so much for hockey all over North America. Kids from Florida playing with kids from Nova Scotia and Calgary. It would just be amazing. Calgary, Colorado. It would just be amazing to have all those leagues merge into one. What was the story on this?
Yeah, so this comes from a reporter named Kevin Dubé, reporter for JDEQ Quebec. Everything is in French Canadian, but this is translated, and it says, quote, after the OHL, WHL, and QMJHL, the Canadian Hockey League, CHL, is seriously exploring the possibility of bringing in the United States Hockey League, USHL, in quotes, under its umbrella amid the upheaval caused by the NCAA's rule change almost exactly 1 year ago today, the Journal has learned.
I mean, that's to me the biggest news. That's almost bigger than the NIL. It's bigger than the kids coming in from the CHL to college hockey. This would make hockey unbelievable for all parties involved. What are your thoughts on that transpiring, Jess?
Well, number one, I think it's a good move. You know, and talking to Glenn Heffern, the USHL commissioner, a year ago at this time when there was the initial upheaval that CHL players could be college eligible, you know, this was one thing that's been hinted at for a long time is why isn't the USHL part of the Memorial Cup? You know, all of that. But no, I just think this would be a great development. And again, this is my soapbox on how it relates to college hockey most directly. We're going to have so many more college eligible, good players who are interested in college hockey. We got to get some more programs out there, guys. Come on, get the Big Ten. You've got a conference. You've got money. Let's get Maryland. Let's get Iowa. Let's get Oregon. You know, wherever it is, we need some more programs for places for all these great players to play.
Especially these schools with all the money. Like we talked about Georgia maybe on this show. Like the ones with a ton of money, like literally put it, and they got a building in Athens, Georgia. Like this would be so easy and so unbelievable for the sport, and it would be good for everybody if these American colleges, I mean, think about it. It would be good for Canadian players from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan to go to Georgia and play hockey. It'd be great for everybody.
Iowa right now, today, Iowa has a better college hockey building by their campus than Ohio State or Michigan has. I'm just going to say it right now. So
wow. Did you say Michigan?
Yes, I did say Michigan.
He said Michigan.
Wow.
That's one of the top 5 buildings in the country, Jess.
Well, yeah, but the lighting is like kerosene.
So
it was built
what?
like
It's
the 1920s.
unbelievable. That's a thing of art. That's a
Mark
thing
my
of
words.
art.
In 5 years, Yost Ice Arena, if it has not met with the wrecking ball, there will be active plans because even the Michigan folks realize now, especially if they're going to add a women's hockey program, that facility ain't going to cut it. It's cool. It's historic, all that. So was the old Mariucci Arena, but at some point you have to move on.
Okay. All right. You and I are going to we're going to fight next week.
Wow.
We're going to fight.
Wow, I like it.
We're going to fight.
I like it.
I'll be wearing my Michigan jersey as I fight you.
Wow.
This podcast has come full circle. We started with a fist fight. Now we're on to the hosts actually fighting each other. I like it.
Co-hosts fighting.
A little bit more from the article here. I guess there were some pretty big wigs that were involved in this meeting. It said the meeting was held at the NHL's New York offices where CHL and the 3 leagues, along with the USHL, Hockey Canada, and USA Hockey were all gathered in the same room to discuss a quote-unquote new world order. NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman and Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly were also in attendance.
This is a bombshell.
Well, and if you want to hear more in-depth discussion on this, listen to our junior hockey podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, you're going to get it too.
Me and Peter and Drew are definitely going to be diving into this.
And for those involved in our junior hockey pod, this just was such big news. I wasn't going to let it wait a couple days. So I wanted to make sure we got it out there.
Well, it affects college too.
It
so,
totally affects
everybody.
college. And it affects the USHL, which is a sponsor of this show. And I think it's great for the league. It's going to be great for Minnesota kids. We talked about 13 of them playing their senior years. I think it fits for this show perfectly.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
Well, so going through some of the other Minnesota teams, Minnesota State keeps getting ties. They have like 4 ties now, I think, or something crazy.
Yeah, they had 2 with Wisconsin,
They had
too.
2 with Wisconsin, and now they
So
have
what does that tell
2
us about them?
I don't know. It's hard to say. That's why when we made our own polls, it's hard to rank them because I don't know what to think of these ties.
When we get to the polls, I have a segment for the polls.
Yeah.
We're going to list our polls, and
Yeah.
Jess can either agree or disagree
Sure.
with where we got people. That'll be good content.
Because Minnesota State, 2 ties against Wisconsin, you think pretty good, but 2 ties against Bowling Green, I don't think that's as good.
Neither do I.
But they got the shootout win technically Friday and the shootout loss Saturday, so it kind of is a true
Total
split in a
True
way.
split.
with the
3 points
conference
apiece.
Yeah. Not a ton of Minnesotans involved because Bowling Green I don't think has any. But Campbell Psycho scored the 4th goal Friday, and then Evan Murr had, I believe, the shootout game winner. So couple, but not many on the box score when you're looking at it. And I just don't really know what to think of Mankato quite yet.
No,
it's
that's
really
why
hard.
I can't put them obviously in the top 10.
And they went to overtime with
20.
St. Thomas. Like they just have a lot of scores that I don't know.
We don't know what to think of St.
Question.
Thomas yet.
They're not doing great, but they're not doing bad. They're just kind of question
agree.
mark. So that was them. Not a ton of notes on that one. Bemidji State, again, sweep asterisk because there was an overtime game.
Yep.
Lake Superior State, 4-1, and then 3-2 in overtime. Again, Adam Fleming has just been on fire since coming back from injury. He opened scoring both nights, and he also had the primary assist on the overtime game winner in night 2. And then for Lake State, they had kind of a tough Friday. They only had 11 shots on goal, but Carter Batchelder scored a shorty for them.
Yeah,
So
and that's
Minnesotan.
where his dad Toby's from Bemidji.
So
And if you know, Toby knows literally the entire state. I can't believe you don't know Toby. He knows everybody, and the fact that his son scored
yeah,
in a game in the town where he grew up is always fun to see.
that's cool.
Very cool.
So that was Bemidji State. Obviously, they're kind of heating up now a little bit. I think their only losses have been to NCHC teams, so they're doing pretty good actually. Now that we're getting into things.
And they took care of Augustana, didn't they?
I think they did.
After
Yeah.
Augustana-
So after kind of starting the season, they're kind of getting hot.
They're
a little
getting
bit
rolling.
So they're doing pretty good.
Looks like Ernie's got the house in order. Remember last week his press conference? He goes, "It's kind of like a broken down house. You fix one thing and then you fix another."
They're doing good.
Well, the house seems to be pretty good.
Seems to be in repair.
Yes, it's in good repair right now. There's no leaks.
Yeah.
I think Bemidji State definitely benefit. I mean, at least from somebody that has grown up and watches a ton of Minnesota college hockey, I feel like they kind of benefit from that not being in the direct spotlight a little bit, where they can develop. Where it's like, Gophers hit a couple road bumps and everybody's, you know, the roof is going to come down. It's where
I agree with that. It's a good take.
Another team, kind of like Mankato, that I'm confused by is Augustana. They have a couple really nice wins, and then they just have some very strange losses. They split with Ferris State this weekend, who is not a great team.
First-year coach. I mean, they have all the excuses already built up.
Yeah, they've
done okay.
4-2 win and then a 2-0 loss. I'm kind of feeling the same with Augustana as I am with St. Cloud. They have some good wins, some bad losses, and I'm just kind of confused because some games I'm like, wow, they seemed really good at here, and then other games I'm like, wow, that was just a clunker. That was not.
Because I had some downtime this weekend, I charted all of these teams that were close to the top 20.
Yeah.
And there were more. It was the hardest thing. I'm like, we ripped on the polls last weekend, and then I got in and did it myself.
I still think ours is better than the poll, but
I think so. I think so too.
Almost a little easier to rank. You could almost do tiers.
Yeah.
You could do like your S tier, your A, your B's.
There was a couple chunks where I was like, here's this top chunk, I feel pretty good. This middle chunk, feel pretty good. And then here's the bottom third that I don't.
Well, the other thing is, like, when I got done, though, I was very Western biased. I look at my poll, it's very Western biased.
Maybe
I just don't see any Eastern teams dominating anybody. They're all 6. It feels like they're all 6-3-1.
Yeah.
They got a couple good wins. They got a couple bad losses, and they always got a tie against someone random. That's what the East Coast feels like to me.
Well, and then one last team in the area to talk about, North Dakota sweeps Omaha and Omaha. For them, I think that's pretty good because Omaha is feeling the same as St. Cloud too, where I think if they would have gotten a split or a big win, I think they could have been 20 this week or ranked.
Yeah,
but instead they don't get any points, so I think it's kind of like the same with St. Cloud, where you get swept, so now you're not going to be there quite yet. 7-2 and 4-1. Omaha's good, but not quite to the level of Nodak. I mean, Zellers had 2 goals. Strinden had 2 goals. On Friday, North Dakota was 4 for 8 on the power play. But Omaha, it looks like, did take a 5-minute major, and they also had like an unsportsmanlike and like just kind of a tough penalty weekend. But along with that, Jack Kernan, first collegiate goal, shout out, and Anthony Mangini scored his first goal for North Dakota.
I think it's Genie.
Mangini? Well, he had his first for North Dakota. He scored, obviously, in the past for Duluth, but he had his first with
If anyone from Brainerd is out there, actually, I'll talk to Olivia King. She's coming in today.
Yeah, see if
she'll
she
know.
knows. Yeah.
She'll know Anthony's how to
all the
pronounce
Brainerd
his last name.
people.
Yeah. We have Brainerd on the staff now.
Nice.
It's pretty cool.
Brainerd represent.
Jersey's right above your head.
Don't they have hockey? Don't they have hockey day?
No, Hastings does.
No, the next year.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be cool.
That'll
be
sweet.
That'll be awesome.
Other notables.
Hockey Day, by the way, in Brainerd, they're going to have it at the Raceway. Did you see that?
At BIR?
Amazing.
Yeah, at nice. BIR. So they have, they have stands built in for like 10,000 people already. So
that'll be really good.
Cool, cool way to do it.
I like that. I like that a lot. I got a quick Will Zellers.
Yeah, go for it.
Shout out to Will Zellers. This kid did not do he's from Maple Grove, Minnesota, right? So he did not do Osseo Maple Grove hockey growing up. He did a little bit, but he kind of went off on his own path, and people were like scratching their head. Why would you leave this?
Yeah.
And I think he committed to somewhere different.
I think it was BU.
BU or something.
It was
and
somewhere
then he got,
out east.
His dad was an athlete at the University of North Dakota. Probably his dream school was UND. He gets there. Instead of going there right away last year, right after high school, he takes a year of juniors. The kid is just taking his time, and he is just kicking absolute ass right now.
Yes.
In his first year at school. Shout out to Will Zellers.
And we have you guys have those great photos of him too from when they came down.
I
see them posted everywhere.
Yeah, I know,
so cool.
I know. But the point of that one was like these other organizations using them that they're their own, or they give credit to Andrew in like 0.5 type on there. That's BS. Everybody knows it. So. All right, keep going.
And other notables, Tony, we mentioned this on our junior hockey pod last week. I didn't know if either of you guys had any info on this, but the USHL transaction list sometimes means nothing, but other times it means they might know some inside info. And we saw that Sioux City added Lincoln Keene's rights.
That is bizarre.
Which, again, it could mean nothing, But it could mean maybe somebody heard there's a 5% possibility he could be coming back to juniors, whether it be next year.
Is he playing?
In the middle of the semester? I think he's playing, but I don't think he has any points.
Okay, all right.
So limited kind of minutes. It seemed kind of up and down when I looked it up, but I don't think he has any points yet.
So he's completed his he completed his time at the NTDP.
Yep.
Which is a very common thing for kids to now go back to juniors.
And I think he was originally maybe
Colorado
a CC
College.
and then flipped to Arizona.
But like my point is those guys, I think it's going to become even now with the CHL influx, more and more kids are going to do the 2 years of the NTDP and then do a year like Lindbergh did and Larilla did, and it's good for him.
And for him too, he's one of the youngest players in college hockey right now. He turns 18 at the end of this month.
Yeah.
So he's not even 18 yet.
This is his draft year, so he might want to go back to the USHL and get some look a little better for his draft.
We were mentioning this on the pod last week of sometimes this means nothing. Sometimes it's just a team with wishful thinking that maybe he'll come back. But other times this has kind of been a thing to notice because I tweeted this a couple years ago when Cole Spicer originally was not playing for Duluth. All of a sudden you saw his name pop up on the transactions list.
Yeah.
And I don't think he originally went to the team that added it, but then they, I think, traded him to a different team. And you have to get back into the league somehow. So maybe it's nothing and he could stay there.
I think it's a great pickup because...
But it could be something
to pay attention to.
Think about
it. If you're an NHL scout, though, think about this. Mm-hmm. And you got to watch a kid from Arizona, which they're not going to fly to Arizona to watch.
Arizona has not been good early on. They have not been good this year.
So he goes down to Arizona State, not playing much, not get seen by NHL scouts. It'd probably be his benefit from an NHL scouting perspective to head back to a top program like Sioux City and play the next semester there and cough up a year of college eligibility, but also get back on the radar for the NHL scouts.
Yeah, I just looked it up. He has 9 games played, no points yet, and I don't have the time on ice in front of me. I think it was kind of up and down. There was one game he played a decent amount, another game he didn't, so I don't know. In Arizona State this year, I thought they were going to be better, and they have not been very good. So I don't know. Again, it could mean nothing, but it could be something to kind of just keep your eye on.
I was talking to an NHL scout. Let's call him Western Conference NHL scout.
Yeah.
And he said this about ASU. I did not say this. Joey Memes, make sure you do not quote me as saying this.
Yeah.
Sydney got a little trouble last week.
You need context.
Zach Zimmerman. So an NHL scout from the Western Conference said to me that, ASU's got a bunch of guys that nobody wants. And they're like I go kind of like Australia, and he goes, yeah, kind of like Australia, and if you look at their roster top to bottom, and that's a really hard group of people to bring together and have one team pointing in the same direction. Yeah. And that was his perception. And I never thought of it that way.
Last year
but I
they
thought
had
it was a
that
pretty
too
good
with
take.
a lot of the transfer portal guys that had kind of bounced around, and they kind of got lucky with some of them. Like I know Artem Schlane had bounced around a lot, and then he had a really good season for them, but I don't know. This year, it doesn't seem like it's working as well.
Jess?
Since we're talking hockey in the desert, I'm just going to pop back to my rant of a couple minutes ago about these schools that need to add hockey.
Yeah.
It may be open already. If not, it's under construction. About a 3,800 seat rink about a mile from campus in Tucson.
Oh,
so University of Arizona, get your ass in gear.
Do it.
Join the NCHC.
Do it.
You have a natural rival. You have a travel partner right up the road at ASU. And I mentioned this like a year ago to Greg Powers, the ASU coach. He's like, yeah, bring it on. We'd love to have, a neighborhood rival. Think how much fun that would be.
We've had 2 ass sayings in one podcast today already. There's a lot of ass in this show.
Whoa.
I like it.
I think we just got upgraded to PG-13.
We did.
PG-13.
We for sure
PG-13.
did. For sure did.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep rolling.
Other notables, just some other game results I thought were interesting. Michigan State sweeps Penn State. I watched the Saturday game, and wow, Penn State did not look good. I think it was 5-0. And one big notable, too, for Penn State, Aiden Fink is out.
Yeah, that hurts.
That's a big one.
Like
and he was supposed to be on
going to miss the tournament?
He was supposed to be on the Spankler Cup too, and now
that's such a hard word to say, by the way.
Yeah, let me look it up.
Spankler Cup. It just doesn't sound very
cool, does it?
Either. Doesn't. It just feels like they got sent to the Spengler Cup. You know, they got sent down to the Spengler Cup.
I don't know if
I have to go to Spengler.
You know what I mean? I mean, not that our tournament is that great, but the Lumberjack Cup seems like that's like massive and it's huge. It's important. Spengler Cup.
It says upper body injury. I don't know if I'm seeing a timeline. I don't think it was like a for
How
sure.
do you get this stuff that quick? That's impressive.
End of the season. I'm just searching
You
his
have
name
fast
on Twitter.
fingers.
Searching his name. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Sometimes I type at night and my husband's like, "Oh my god." I'm like, what?
Whoa, it's here. Time on ice, 9 minutes. You know, like, how do you get this?
Obviously, that's not good for them. I just see upper body injuries, so I'm not sure on that. It just says for the foreseeable future. I don't know what that means.
He'll be around for the Spengler Cup,
see.
hopefully.
But that's a lot.
Sorry, kind of a side note. It's hilarious that when you look for kind of college hockey injury news, you don't really find a lot, but the people that are on it the most are the fans of whoever they were drafted by in the NHL.
Yes,
absolutely.
The prospect account.
The Sabres guys.
I'm reading this.
Yeah.
I'm reading this, and it's a Preds prospect, and he's got this huge thing. It's like Aiden Finks dealing with a UBI, #Smashville. You know?
Nice.
And it's just like, I love it.
I do too.
I love it, you know?
It's exactly what Jess is talking about.
Yeah.
Let's make college hockey great and great.
The other note, Sydney, in your since we're talking about this Michigan State, Penn State, Charlie Stramel, as you noted, 2 goals, 2 assists on Saturday. A lot of folks excited about that because, you know, a first-round draft pick of the Minnesota Wild, a team that is always looking for centers, and rough start to his college career. You know, it just didn't seem to be the right fit at Wisconsin. If folks remember, he was maybe like a third or fourth liner for Wisconsin toward the end of his freshman year. That year, Wisconsin goes to the NCAA playoffs. They play a multi-overtime game. I think it was with Denver. And Charlie Stramel got, I think, maybe 1 or 2 shifts in this multi-overtime game. And it just wasn't the right fit for him at Wisconsin. Had a better year last year. Not a great year, but a better year. But it really seems like he's kind of finding his stride, and for Minnesota Wild fans, that's obviously good news because they certainly want him to work out and love the idea of a local guy coming back home, another local guy.
I think it would work out just fine.
Yeah, and he was kind of.
Speaking of Smashville, by the way, side note, Matthew Wood, his first NHL hat trick yesterday at Madison Square Garden, all 3 goals in a 6-3 loss to the Rangers. But Matthew Wood, I think he has got like 6 goals in his last 7 games or something like that. And when people say, why aren't the Gophers scoring? Well, there's a guy who would have helped if he would have stuck around 1 more year.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw that the Gophers, I think, did like the co-post with Nashville, and all the comments were from the Gophers, and they're like, way to go for Matthew Wood. Only if UC Soros didn't have a .583 goals save percentage, they could have maybe won the game for him. But
wow.
No, he looks good.
Well, Charlie Stramel, too, going back to him, he kind of, I know he's not, he's an APX alum, so I thought he could be our APX alum of the week because he had 2 goals and 2 assists on Saturday. It was a big game.
Yeah. Are we calling him Stramel or Stramel? Did you call him Stramel?
I said
we're doing
Stramel.
this again.
Okay, good. All right.
Because that's what you told me last year.
That's what
you told me last year.
Keep it Stramel.
And obviously I've talked to Sophie, too. So.
Yeah, keep it at Stramel.
I asked him point blank last year how it's pronounced. He said Charlie. So.
Wow.
I like it.
But, yeah, so he was kind of my APX alum of the week.
I like
but
it.
I know also, too, I thought about mentioning, too, because sometimes we talk about the Minnesotan commitments, to Carter Ernst, one of our APX current athletes, just committed to St. Thomas. So maybe kind of like a co-people, because that was a college commitment there.
And I always like to point this out. Carter has an older brother, Jackson, who literally, I think he's the Blue Ox all-time point leader. I mean, he was a youth hockey legend, and he's still playing. He's playing in the Null. He's doing great. But, man, has Carter in the last 18 months just passed him? He's lapped his brother.
He's had a big year. And I just saw he was named captain of Lakeville South as well.
Yeah, so not surprised there. I'm excited to see the Cougars.
And we've got a lot of APX ties to St. Thomas as well with players, and then also Ray Christie's on the staff now. So got a lot of kind of...
He's on the UST staff?
He's the director of hockey ops.
Oh, my gosh.
We share a building for
what an absolute perfect position for Ray.
Yeah, I talked to him. If you're interested, go to our apx-hockey.com website. I talked to him kind of about his journey, and it sounds like he always kind of knew he was going to go into coaching. So went to St. Thomas and played his final year there, but I think his goal has always been
he's got a real good connection with with Leon.
Yeah, he told me that was like his big.
Leon recruited him to
CC,
and not surprised.
So
whatsoever.
A lot of APX ties with the.
So
Tommies.
so just our boys' high school audience knows this quite clearly. Ray's father, Ray, and I were longtime teammates through youth hockey and high school hockey. So great friend of mine and great guy. Ray's a great kid, great friend of mine.
Yeah,
so
and now he's on the staff.
Excited to see it.
Super
That's
cool.
awesome. That is awesome news.
A couple of other notable scores from the weekend. Ranked matchup, Maine beat UMass on Thursday. That was the only Thursday game. And then I'm just kind of looking through some of these other scores here.
You had something on the APX sponsor, Wisconsin splits with Michigan. I think that's noteworthy. That's
Wisconsin splits with Michigan. That was a top 10
Now we know
game.
Wisconsin's for real because before this weekend, they didn't really have anything.
They didn't have a ton of huge games, but we knew they were good.
We
needed
definitely knew
some
they were good.
proof.
And I think we know that Michigan's good too. I don't know, Ryan, you're on social media. You're on a lot of social media. Did either of you guys see this clip of the two Michigan guys on the bench?
I love that.
Oh,
It was in
I
the penalty
couldn't
box.
hate anything more.
Penalty
So
box.
Go ahead, Ryan. Give us
in the box.
Give us the younger generation version of what I
Who
saw.
was it? Spence and
It was two.
doesn't
I
matter.
forget.
Punks.
No, I mean they're from the same. They're both
I think it
Canadian
was
kids.
Spence and somebody else. I forgot
But
who the other guy was.
They're both in the box, and I will say these were. I watched. I think it was the Friday game, and I mean these teams hate each other. These were great hockey games from a fan's perspective, but they were in the box, and they were. I don't know who they were chirping at on Wisconsin.
Cassie.
But they were basically making fun of him for the fact that he needs to get a job next year, and that they both are. Either are they? I don't know if they're both drafted or about to be drafted.
And then the fight at the end of the game, they looked horrible.
That was bad.
So one of the worst fights ever. No one punched anybody. They sat there and it was like I've seen meteor square dancing. In my life, it was a terrible fight. They can't punch. These punk kids from Michigan are lipping off the. It was a bad look for college hockey. And I'm glad the person caught it on video.
Penn State, Michigan State got really chippy at the end of the game Saturday, too. There was like a big scrum at the end.
Is this the CHL influence? Is that what this is?
Well,
it is. CHL influence.
My little side note would be, I know I talked about this last year on the pod, too, but I feel like we all kind of forget that these are college kids. These guys are 17 all the way up to 25. There's a huge range in there. And all these kids are on social media. They all know who each other are. They all know. They all know each other's situation, where they're drafted, who they are compared. So, I mean,
since we're talking social media and since we're talking Big Ten, can I just throw something in?
Here we go.
I just want to throw out a bit of advice because I think I follow every Big Ten team on Instagram, and they're varied widely in what they post for their team.
Absolutely.
Let me just I'm just going to throw out a bit of advice because there are people who are looking to run social media accounts after they're out of college, and I'm sure this is their big break. They're at the University of wherever or whatever state university. I'm not going to say any names, but when a good 50% of your Instagram content for a college hockey program is a bunch of bored-looking guys in suits showing up at the rink, just walking in. That's it.
With a coffee cup?
Yep, with a coffee cup, wearing their letter jacket, wearing a suit, looking absolutely could not be more bored. And every game, this is 40% of the content.
I would agree.
It's just guys walking into the rink. There's got to be something more interesting than that out there. Come on.
I agree with that.
Really?
Some teams have been stepping up the TikTok game. I've had a lot of them in my For You feed of funny content and you get to know the player's personality a little more. And I think that's really fun.
I like that part of it. But this was not from a social media account. This was someone was videotaping them chirping
went over
back,
the glass.
went over the glass.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. I rather. I work in a penalty box a lot. I'm around a penalty box, and I hate when players yell back and forth with each other. You're in the penalty box.
Stop.
Shut the F up.
Yep.
And be quiet.
You see the box attendant guy? He was an older guy.
He did tell him to
I know.
sit down.
I liked that. He kind of
There's a Michigan box
straighten him
worker
out.
told the Mexican kid, sit down and shut up.
"Sit
Eventually.
down."
Yeah, eventually he said, just enough. I like that. Thank you.
Well, I just had a
Can I-
few. Go
Can I
ahead,
add
Jess.
one little note here since
Yeah.
we're talking about chirping in the penalty box?
Yeah.
The old rink I grew up in Warroad. It was torn down in like 1994, but it was the old classic wooden barn. You know, the great story is Cal Marvin, the godfather of hockey up there. When he went to fight in World War II, you had to list a beneficiary for your life insurance policy. Like if you got killed, here's who's going to get $100,000 or something like that. And on his life insurance policy, when he went to fight in the Pacific Theater of World War II, he listed Warroad Community Arena Fund. Now, thankfully, he didn't get killed in World War II, so the first thing he did when he got back is they built this rink. Anyway, late 40s, early 50s rink design, it had one penalty box.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. I bet
So,
that was
and
great.
I grew up in the era of the Warroad Lakers, which was, if you've ever seen Slapshot, you've seen a Warroad Lakers game, especially a playoff game. You would have these just nasty knockdown, drag out fights on the ice, gloves down, sticks down, everything. And then they'd take the two guys, they'd separate them, they'd finally get them separated, and then they would put them in a 10-by-10 box sitting next to each other.
No divider.
Yep.
Now
what do you guess the next thing that happened?
They're gonna fight again.
Exactly.
In a 10-by-10. It's like a cage match.
And that was the rink I grew up in. That was all I knew was, wait, you can have two penalty boxes? Why would you do that?
I've never understood why there's not dividers in the box. I mean, even till this day, there's. I think in the NHL there's not.
Well,
dividers.
you can't climb in the NHL. You can't climb.
Of course.
Over.
No, but
This I know we're far off the tracks
Oh,
now,
yeah.
but this happened in a YHH event, and we counted at one of our podcasts. I think we counted close to 10,000 games that we've administered in all of our tournaments.
Yeah.
And a Bantam B kid from one organization challenged another kid, Bantam B kid from another organization, came through the penalty box and started to wail on him. Our box workers were a 18-year-old girl and a 16-year-old girl who could have gotten majorly injured.
Foot stepped on,
stick, skate,
anything.
You name it. It was incredible. And when I asked the referee later about it, he goes, "Oh, it's no big deal." I'm like, dude, I want these two kids kicked out of hockey. I called the district directors. They go, "Oh, the referees don't stand by it." I'm like, oh my God. I was so angry.
Yeah, that was bad. That was a bad situation.
Sorry. Rant over. Let's get back on the college hockey.
The rink has been redesigned.
This was, I think, my last notable before just a brief Spengler Cup update. This was an interesting tweet I saw from Mike McMahon this weekend. He tweeted this, and I don't even know how he found this out, but he said, Stonehill, we all know Stonehill, Jersey, right behind
got
me.
one.
They're 1-10 on the season, but they've been one of the most unlucky teams in the country. They've out-expected their opponents in 7 out of 11 games, but only have one
What's out-expected mean?
Like expected goals for like your expected stats based on
like fake
the game.
stats.
Fake stats. And it says their expected record based on stats would be 7-4, but they're 1-10.
So like,
can you tell me what this is?
I was
so
gonna
like
say,
if they capitalize,
Grandpa needs a lesson.
I know. Here we go, Grandpa. Okay,
like if you combine like their saves and their shots on goal and their grade A chances,
let's compare it to
compared to the other teams that they play.
Here's a good analogy of Justin Jefferson's expected to get 75 yards and 5 targets. He doesn't. So then you consider him. I mean, that's a little different with
if
the
he
quarterback.
dropped all of them that weekend, his expected would be like
it's an equation, and how many shots you have on goal, penalties, all of it goes into then you see people post once.
Can I choose not to?
It's
listen?
fake. They're fake stats.
It is fake stats, but I thought that was kind of interesting.
I don't know the website, but people using NHL. It's like if this game was played 100 times. And these stats, the outcome would be the Wild win 95% of the time, but they didn't.
Right. Okay. All right.
So sometimes it's just interesting. You might not. Yeah, it is kind of like, okay, well, whatever. It didn't happen, but kind of interesting that it says that they'd have a winning record based on those, and they're 1-10. So kind of strange.
I think you're a very interesting person.
The coach is
but I don't think that's interesting at all.
The coach is trying to give himself a crutch.
Some people don't pay attention to it. Yeah, some people don't pay attention to it.
The coach is trying to give himself a crutch where he's like, look, man, like.
No.
Oh, maybe so.
Brutal.
Yeah.
That's brutal. That's
this relates to something I brought up a couple weeks ago. The losing coaches who brag about their number of 1-goal losses.
Yeah.
It's
like you should have just won.
The implication is, well, we were that close to winning.
Yeah.
We lost by a goal, but we were just this close. So that shows that we're actually better than our record shows. And I'll say it again. My friend John Gilbert, God rest his soul, said, If you lose by 1 goal, that means you played just good enough to lose.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where you should have just maybe won those games. But
Yep.
so yeah, take that with a grain of salt. Kind of interesting, maybe not interesting, depends on who you are.
Speaking of the Spengler Cup.
Yeah, so that I was just going to briefly mention, there's not Minnesotans, so we don't need to delve into it, but they added 6 players to the roster, and Vinny Borghese of Northeastern. I think he might lead the nation in like time on ice per night or
Like
some
that?
crazy stat. Matt DeMarsico of Penn State, JJ Webush of Penn State, Quinn Finley, Wisconsin. He's
2 Wisconsin natives.
2 Wisconsins. Adam Guyon of UMD, who I think I just saw was NCHC goalie of the week after this weekend.
Maybe, yeah. Despite the coaching, he's done well.
And Ryan Walsh of Cornell were the recent additions. I think they only have a couple left now.
So who are the Minnesotans? I know Zam and Danny Nelson. Any
Zam
others?
and Danny Nelson. Who else was it?
Any others? Kleber maybe? Or is he too young?
Let me
They want to
look
take
on
juniors and
here.
seniors, it seems like.
It says currently
Older.
Eric Polkamp,
Oh, that's a good one.
Danny Nelson, Zam Plant, I believe, are the only ones for right now. And I did see also another interesting tweet. I don't know if this is confirmed, but a lot of people have said it's rumored that Michigan State and Western Michigan are not letting their players play in this because they want them this winter. So
Say that one more time.
some teams are opting out, like they don't want their guys to go play in this because they want them to play in college.
Which teams were they?
Western Michigan and Michigan State, because some people are like, well, where is Hampton Slukinski? Or some people are saying, well, where is, who did I just say? Michigan State. Where are the Michigan State guys?
Yeah.
It's like,
Where's Charlie
all
Stramel?
those guys, Trey Augustine. Yeah, like those guys. And apparently they are not having their guys go to this.
Yeah,
So that's
wow.
the rumor, and it sounds like it's been fairly confirmed. But
That's funny because both those coaches are very pro-USA
so maybe
hockey.
some of those coaches,
they're-
unless maybe the coaches are just saying that because maybe their guys just don't want to go, and maybe they're just saying that to say
Maybe.
that. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
But kind of interesting because even if you look on some of these projected rosters, they don't include those guys, and obviously they have some of the top players.
Clearly.
So
2 top 10 teams, right?
yeah, so that's kind of interesting. But otherwise, Summit scorers, Tony, I don't know if there's any on here you wanted to talk about. Some names that you don't see all the
Well,
time.
we don't see Campbell Psychos in here,
Yeah,
though.
Campbell Psychos.
Let's see. That's another
Adam
one.
Kleber scored for UMD. And
Love
oh my gosh,
Klebs.
watching him play against St. Cloud, dude, he is like the tallest guy by a lot on the ice. He is huge.
Did you see his goal? I tweeted
Yeah.
it because it was so awesome.
It was
He
a good
broke up the play.
Yeah.
He stepped in front of a pass, somehow gets up the ice, and then gets
Yeah.
it back on a one-timer and
It's
finished
so
it. I'm
funny
like, that was a
seeing
glorious goal.
him and Ty Hansen playing together, though, because
Yeah.
they're very different. Where like he's huge, Ty Hansen's definitely on a little bit smaller, but they're both so good
yeah.
that it's just funny sometimes seeing them stand next to each
And
other.
this is the second time I've had a Ty Hansen assist trick. He had 3 assists
A lot.
again. That's twice he's had this
Yeah.
that this year, so he's cashing in on the points for sure.
a couple other. Max Strand scored. John Whipple scored. I think his was an empty
Mr.
netter.
Hockey, Max
You
Strand.
texted me like Sartell's Talon Sigurdsson ×2.
Yeah, Talent Sigerson, Hockey Town, USA, Sartell. Gotta
Yeah.
love it. Gotta
Well,
love
I
it.
texted Tony too. Sartell is the Dinah of St. Cloud.
It is,
so.
totally is.
And
totally
then
is.
Saturday, Ben Dexheimer for
Love
Wisconsin.
seeing Dexy on there.
Jack Harvey's had a few, but he was on there. A bunch of the other ones we mentioned. Joe Miller, Harvard's playing now. So
Yep.
Colin Ralph is first as a Spartan. Joe Schiller, Mitchell Wolf for Bemidji.
There's some good names.
Yeah,
There's some good names.
but
I
a lot
like.
of repeating guys. Oh, Tony's getting another call.
Oh, it's Jay Hardwick from Warroad, Minnesota.
Wow.
Golly, just
We've
Wow.
discussed getting 2 phones.
just
for Tony,
name
but
dropping. Just name dropping there.
Before we get to, or do you want to do poll first or upcoming games first before we end the show?
Say poll first, and then what?
Or upcoming games?
Let's do upcoming games, and we'll
Okay.
do polls.
Upcoming games tonight, the day that we're recording. You might be
Yes.
listening to this after this. St. Cloud is at St. Thomas at the La Pas,
I like the
that
La
name. I like that.
La Pas.
which they played one game earlier this year, and then they were going to play this one once the arena was finished. So that's a fun Tuesday night game. I'm excited to watch that.
Anyone needs tickets, let me know.
Otherwise, St. Cloud is.
For
Otherwise,
the game
St.
that already happened.
Yeah, for the
St.
game that
Cloud
already
is
happened.
off this weekend otherwise, and then St. Thomas will be at Augustana Saturday only. So they kind of have a weird, funky schedule for those two this weekend.
Yeah.
Minnesota plays Long Island, Bemidji State is at Michigan Tech, and North Dakota plays Arizona State. So honestly, nothing super eye-popping in my opinion. I'm kind of interested in Bemidji State, Michigan Tech.
How many UND fans are going to be in Arizona this weekend?
Honestly, that's...
I think 100,000.
And I think they have a good possibility of sweeping again because, like I said, Arizona's a weird, not playing great right now. So why would you not?
Those were the ones, I want to say last year North Dakota played at Arizona State like in January, which if you've been to Grand Forks in January, yikes.
Yes.
You know, it's a place that you'd be happy to take a break from and go see some sunshine for a weekend, even though January in Arizona can be, you know, highs in the 60s and cloudy and
hey, that's shorts weather for Minnesota.
Oh yeah.
It's not lay by the pool weather, definitely. But anyway, that was the series last year, where as soon as the schedule came out, you know, tickets on the secondary market were going for like $900 because there was such a huge demand from North Dakota fans, and not only fans who travel, but keep in mind a lot of snowbirds
live there.
In Arizona, a lot of folks from Minnesota, you know, Western Minnesota, who may be North Dakota fans, a lot of folks from North Dakota who spend their winters, you know, once they're retired in Arizona, a lot of big fans. You know, I know for years there's a group that gets together. There's a bar in the Phoenix area where they get together and watch the North Dakota games on Friday and Saturday nights. So yeah, that's always an interesting one. You know, Arizona State's one of those teams that where like, do they actually play any home games or is it just all visiting fans there?
I'm sure there's a lot of that.
I bet they get a lot of neutral fans too, because if you're like a Minnesotan who goes down there in the winter and you just want to watch some hockey, you'd probably just go and watch. Like not even a fan of either team, you just want to watch some hockey.
Good college hockey too, I bet.
Absolutely. And keep in mind, you know, they don't have the NHL in that market anymore.
Exactly.
So that's the big show in town as far as hockey goes.
I love it.
Well, so the big thing to end the show is this week we made our own poll. Jess obviously was busy, so he didn't do one this week. But
he was busy not killing a deer.
But Tony and I did.
And gutting the deer.
And so
in fact, we all did that this weekend. None of us killed a deer, right?
None of us killed a deer.
No.
But two of us got our rankings done.
I did not get any deer this weekend, but I am making venison for dinner. Fun fact.
Nice.
Look at you. Yeah. I have a friend, by the way, who yesterday wound up getting 2 deer. Got one with the front of his car, driving out to go deer hunting. You know, and then sitting in the deer stand an hour later, he actually got one with a rifle.
Got his cousin.
Did he keep the first one?
Not the way you want to get 2 deer. I'll tell you that.
No. Especially dense wise.
Quick question, Jess. Can you legally keep that first deer if you don't have a tag for it?
There is a process by which you can keep it. You know, you obviously have to call the highway patrol, and you have to, you know, go through certain circles, and then I think you get right of first refusal to
maybe
that,
you have to
that
prove
animal.
You're not just mowing down your car.
Oh, there's a piece of radiator in my deer, my venison steaks.
Gosh. Well, okay, so Tony and
this
I...
is the first edition right here.
Well, first edition YHH college poll, and I think it's pretty good, and ours actually were pretty close. So we both came up with our own top 20 over the past 2 days, sent them in our group chat, and then I averaged them out to come up with our first YHH poll. And we actually had, I did a top 21 because we had we each had a different team in the bottom. And then we had, since we're not receiving
I would put
votes,
Minnesota Cornell got tied at the bottom.
Tied at the bottom? Okay.
Yeah.
But then at the bottom, I just put others we liked in no particular order since we don't have a receiving vote, since we don't have a huge committee. But for us, I'll just quick read it off, and then if we want to compare contrast,
I would like Jess to just kind of say whether he likes it or not likes it.
Say if he has any beef with it at all.
Yep.
You've got the Bulldogs too low. I don't know where they are, but they're too low.
Well, they're pretty high in ours.
I had them at 2.
So in ours,
I know you did. I'm just having fun with you.
Number 1, unanimous between me and Tony. So that doesn't mean that much unanimous. So 2 people. Michigan State. And then we have a tie at second, Michigan and Minnesota Duluth, both with 37 points. I basically gave the top team 20 points and then went down and averaged it. Tie for 4, Wisconsin and North Dakota. Northeastern at 6, tie 7, Penn State, Denver. 9, Maine. 10, Quinnipiac. 11, Western Michigan. Tie 12, UMass and BU. 14, Providence. Tie 15, BC and UConn. And then the bottom chunk goes Minnesota State, Michigan Tech, Dartmouth, Minnesota, and Cornell. And we mentioned it's really tough right now to project the Ivies because they have so few games played. So
correct.
It's tough. I put Cornell as my 20, but they've played 4 games, same with Dartmouth, so it's kind of hard to say.
And they all play 1 game.
And we had a lot of teams, too, that we could have easily put as 19 or 20 and flipped them out. And we said others we like in no particular order. Ohio State, Minnesota. Well, Minnesota's in the poll. I'll take that out. That was in mine that I could have put in there. Nebraska, Omaha, CC, St. Cloud, Miami, Clarkson, Harvard, Augustana, Colgate, RIT.
RIT, let me get their scores. You said they were 7-2. I'd like to see.
Yeah, they actually have a really interesting...
I spent, believe it or not, in my polling, I spent more time examining the East.
Yeah,
I feel like I know the teams in the West really well.
Yeah, so
I know Colorado College is not any good this year.
RIT,
right? Like I know a lot of my West.
Yeah.
East I spent more time on, and I feel like I couldn't really come to a conclusion. Like I said earlier in the show, I felt like every team was 6-3.
Yeah, RIT is 7-2. Their only 2 losses the first weekend of the season to Sacred Heart. Otherwise, they've beaten Clarkson and they swept Colgate.
Beating Clarkson is impressive.
And they swept Colgate, and they beat Clarkson 6-2, and they beat Colgate 3-1 and 4-1, and they've also swept Air Force, and swept Mercyhurst, but Mercyhurst is bad.
I gave credit to if you had a good win or not.
Yeah,
not if you just got a fancy roster with.
And Tony, our polls were fairly similar. Looking at them, we really didn't have a ton of difference. I put Western Michigan a bit lower than you did, so maybe that's one of the main ones. But otherwise, we had a fairly similar.
Where was my Western and where was yours?
You had them at 9. I had them at 14.
Oof. Okay, so that's the one we disagree on.
Because they have a lot of injuries, and I just, after watching them the past few weekends, I'm not. They have a bunch of injuries right now, and I don't think they're looking peak.
They just got pumped by Denver.
And I don't think Denver's amazing right now either, so I put Western a lot lower.
But they beat UNLV this year. Isn't that worth something?
Is this the same Denver team that just lost to Anchorage?
Exactly, yeah. Denver and mine, I think I had it like 8. Just because they're so confusing.
They are.
They sweep Western, and then they have so many. That's one of the teams I'm like, where do I put Denver right now?
So I was doing my little, I sent you guys my little like line card of each team. So like Denver, where did I have Denver? Denver swept Western Michigan, beat BC, split with Lindenwood, lost to Northeastern and UAA.
And I think, too, both of us...
How do you make any sense out of that?
The both of us, Tony, I think is cool that we both have Northeastern 5-6. We're Husky believers right now.
Well, they swept BC and they beat Denver.
And
that's impressive. That's good wins, right?
The pollsters have them lower because they just don't know anyone on the team. And I think that's not a good excuse to not have them ranked higher. I give
credence to quality wins. So now the Gophers, their win over North Dakota actually looks pretty good, and a split with Michigan Tech looks pretty good. That's why I put them at 20.
Yeah,
because I figured at least they got a quality
Minnesota
win,
at 20,
right?
but I thought I'd have to wait at least another. If they handily sweep Long Island, maybe I'd put them at 20. But for now, I put them in my others I liked category.
Yeah, but some of these teams
but some of these I just
don't have anything.
Know. Yeah, some of them it's really tough because there's a lot of teams in the for example, Maine and Quinnipiac. I put as my 9 and 10, and you had them 10 and 11, so we were pretty close.
Yeah.
Of Maine. Technically tied and lost to Quinnipiac, but Quinnipiac I put below them, and so did you, because they have a lot more. They lost to Merrimack and Yale recently, so what is that?
Who's that, Quinnipiac?
Yeah.
But look, I don't even have Merrimack in mine.
I don't either.
Here's my line for Quinnipiac. Beat BC and Notre Dame, majority over Maine, you know what I mean, kind of a sweep. Over Maine. Lost to Yale, lost to Providence, lost to UAF.
Yeah.
That's not... I'm not convinced.
Yeah, so there's a lot of weird ones like that
at Quinnipiac.
Where normally I'd put them above Maine if they got majority of points, but then they have all these more weird losses, so I couldn't do it.
Ooh, maybe I should have done that.
I don't think
I
you
missed
can
that
though.
one.
Because
I think they should be 10 and
really, because I wouldn't, because they have so many more weird.
But they beat
losses.
Them though. They beat them.
Yeah, but they have way more weird. I don't know.
Wait,
it's
where
so
did
hard.
I have? Where in my poll did I have Maine and Quinnipiac?
You had 10, 11, and I had 9, 10. So
I have
pretty similar.
Quinnipiac at 10.
11.
Yeah, I screwed that up. I would have.
Really? I wouldn't flip them.
I would have flipped them.
Well, I think our polls are pretty similar, though. Jess, if you're listening or looking or either
or
care, do you have any beefs with them, or do you have any things you would have done differently, or just any general thoughts?
I'm with you. I'm a Husky believer. I'm really impressed by this Northeastern team. So I don't have any beef with you ranking them that high. And we talked a lot about the other Huskies that are kind of on a downward trend right now. But since we're on the Husky topic, I'm impressed by Michigan Tech, too.
So am I.
mentioned it. Owen Bartoszkiewicz is goalie of the week in the CCHA this week, and deservedly so. So we've talked about this, but I think Michigan Tech might be my dark horse in that conference.
We both had Tech at 18, Tony, and I think both of us too would have ranked them higher. The only red flags is obviously they split with UAF, not great. They have one of those weird Clarkson losses.
Yes.
Which it seems like everybody's got a weird Clarkson loss.
Everybody's got a Clarkson loss.
And they split with the Gophers. So
that's why I have Minnesota and Michigan. Minnesota, Michigan Tech should be about the same.
I think Michigan Tech, if they keep winning, could easily move up, and I think the Gophers could easily pop up a little more if they kind of trend up.
Once they get closer to 500?
Yeah, because this week I couldn't do it. They probably would have been like my 21 or 22.
Yeah, I just thought.
Then I was like, I don't know if I can put them above Ohio State either, because I kind of view them as the same right now. Of like Gophers, Ohio State. I don't know which one technically.
They're about the same. I think they're about the same.
I want to see them play, because then I'm like, okay, well, which one would I prefer? Because a lot of the pollsters are liking Ohio State, and I'm like, well, they haven't done anything.
No, they haven't done anything.
They lost to Sacred Heart, so I'm not putting them in my.
No, and we look down, go into the AHA and like, oh, what about Bentley?
Yeah.
Bentley got smoked in their run out when they went out to Colorado. That's not they have to do more to gain my, top 20
Yeah,
look.
let me even look at Sacred Heart. I don't think they've done anything that I
watch. They're like 9-1.
No, they've got swept by Air Force. I'm not putting them in it.
Goodbye.
No. Well, so that was our first ever YHH.
I thought we did okay.
I think we should publish it and make it look good.
If we get Jess's, I think it'll be really good.
I think we should just publish
does Jess have the time? Because I don't know if
so good.
I got the Blue Ox this weekend. I don't know how I'm going to do with time-wise to get this
Yeah,
done.
we'll see. Yeah, last night
I just want to see a day, and let's make this our goal. Maybe by Christmas, when they list the national rankings, like a team will say, we're ranked, 2/3 in the national polls, because there are two national polls. By Christmas, I want it to be, we're ranked 2/3/3. I want to be on that level with the other two polls.
We're gonna be on there. We are gonna be there. We're gonna be there.
That should be our goal.
I honestly think, though, if you did one, Jess, this would be a really good poll.
Because we can average it, yeah.
It'll average it out to 3. It'll be a good poll.
But ours were pretty similar.
Yeah.
So honestly, I didn't have to do. That's why there's so many ties, is because I'd have one at 5, you'd have one at 4, and then it would just be.
With 3, it'll be great. But to me, I think the key is doing this where you write down all their results.
That's what
right
I did.
In front of you. You're like,
yeah.
all right, well, I can't put them ahead of them. They lost to these guys, so it's not that hard, but it takes some time. That's for sure.
Well, any other closing thoughts or comments here, everybody? We kind of went through everything.
Anything else, Jess?
I got nothing.
All right,
including and that includes deer.
Well, thanks to producer Ryan, Sydney, and Jess, and thanks to our sponsors, the USHL and APX Hockey. We'll see you next week.